record. I'm about to click. Okay, coach. Hey everyone, I am Coach Eric Butoni with the Basketball Embassy. I want to thank you for joining me. I have Coach Antonio Herrera. He will be presenting on practice plans for a youth program. Coach Antonio, I want to thank you again for your time. Thank you for your presenting. Everyone, if we can please, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A and then we'll get those answered at the very end. So without further ado, Coach Antonio, the floor is yours. Thank you again for presenting and I hope you all enjoy.
Thank you very much. For me, it's a great honor to be here with all of you. And obviously, it is a big responsibility for me. So my purpose today is to give you some ideas that can help you as a coaches for your young program. I have developed my career in different young programs here in Spain, but also as a head coach in professional league and also as a assistant coach in EuroLeague, EuroCup, and ACB here in Spain. So I'm going to try to summarize what is important for me in order to prepare a good practice for the young players. So before to talk about how to prepare a practice, I would like to tell you 4 ideas that for me is very important when we are a coach of a young program. Okay, so the first idea is to be a leader, to be an example for the players. That means for me, in my personal view, is to give our best and also be able to do what you have promised to the players. Stay with the team, stay focused on the team, and enjoy the experience to be the coach of that team. With this, I mean, don't think so much about where you are going to be in the future, but focus in the experience that you have now in your hands. The second idea for me is commitment. Commitment with the project, to lead the goals, fight for the purpose, and commitment with the challenge that maybe you have set to the players and to your club. So leadership and commitment are key for me. The third idea is listen. Listen for me is the effort to understand to the people of the club, of the school, of the university, to the parents, to the family of the players, to the other coaches of the organization, to the manager of the organization. So this is the third idea for me to coach in a young program. And the last one is try to be better. Be the best coach that you can arrive to be. That means every season, every month, every week, every day, try to be a better coach for your young program. I think that there is always a way to help to improve to your college, to your club, to your team, and to your players. So the way in which I see my work is to raise the bar and don't move it. So for me, to introduce the clinic is very important to set this basic. When we have a team, for me, it's important to evaluate each player that we have. Here in our program in Unicaja Malaga, we try to develop a test for everybody. So we need to know at the beginning of the season which kind of purpose we have with the player, with every player. So it's important to make an evaluation at the beginning. So at this sense, you can be focusing all the way that you need to improve to your players. I'm going to show you an example here. In our program, it's very important to develop the big guys, the hands, the body balance, the coordination. So when we evaluate the player, we try to define what they need to improve, and then make a specific drills every day to improve the body balance, to improve the coordination, to improve the hands. Here, just an example with different kind of basketballs, different kind of tennis ball, heavy ball, big balls, but after evaluate every player. So we evaluate the player, and then we make a playbook to improve every player. Okay, so let's start to talk about the week practice. I have choose this topic for you today because I believe that practice is a vital part in the life of a team. And for sure that prepare the practice and be active on them is one of the most important part of our job. I believe in that, and this is the reason why I would like to talk about this with you today. So we must to be constantly searching for improvement in the way of we are preparing the practice. Preparing the week, first of all, check our season, check the month in which we are. Well, just check our planification that we are going to do during the summer before to start the pre-season. So think about our program to improve individual skills that I say before. And we must to think about what we are doing well and what we are doing wrong in our weekly planner. So that's key in order to keep it on, or change it. Just depend about the evaluation that we are going to do every week before to prepare the weekly planner. So let's say that this is a previous step before to decide what we are going to practice. Okay, so something that is a suggestion is for me to you is that in this case you could divide perfectly the contents if you prepare the script for the whole week before the first practice. So in that sense, you can dedicate enough time in each practice to all the topic that you want. So if you are organized, in this way, the week will give you enough space to distribute the contents. So remember to plan how to improve individual skills, conditioning, psychological skills, and in some cases, how to prepare a game. So this is the first point before to start to plan the week, okay? Prepare the script for the whole week. Well, the second idea is where do we want to be at the end of the week? So do we need to practice some aspect of the next game? Which aspect of the game we need to practice again this week? Which aspect we need to repeat this week? Which skills we are going to develop this week? Do I have to work individually with some player? maybe before the practice, maybe at the end of the practice. And okay, you know, of course, at the end we are going to have a plan and we can commit mistake, but we can modify the plan and be flexible. So these two questions for me are very important before to try write down the practice of the week. Another idea for me is to start to prepare each practice with the most important task. So the most important task is going to close to the team, to the goal. If we prepare this part of the practice with enough time, it will help us to get the goals. Also, we can prepare the warm-up with a similar task to the main one, to the most important one. So, but it's important to make it in a very simple way in the warm-up. That means that we are preparing ourselves perfectly for the practice. In our young program here in Malaga, we usually start the practice with ball handling drills. It's a very important part of our program to improve the player in ball handling. We have troubles with many players in this aspect. So it's part of our program to develop this skill and for us to have players able to drive the ball perfectly is very important. So we spend a very important part of the practice and a very important part of the warm-up making all kind of ball handling drills. So when we have finished to prepare the structure of the week, only the structure, now we can talk about some details that maybe can help you to prepare the daily practice. Focus individually in every player of the team. For me, it's quite important to write down the name of every player and think about everyone. If you have a time to think about them, I think that we can make this kind of question that I'm going to tell you, how this player made the last practice, how he can be today, what he can be thinking about the next game or the last game. And, you know, on balance, try to visualize to the player and imagine how he will come to the practice. So in this sense, you can set psychological goals, technical goals, and also prepare the right feedback that you want to give them. So think about the player is, for me, a very important first step before to write down the practice. Another idea is to know the player availability. In order to prepare the practice, we need to know how many players we are going to have in the practice. I know that sometimes it's not easy in all the program, but you know, it's very important to know the number of players that we are going to have as soon as possible. Know the injuries, know the studies problems, or if they have exam or whatever. But this is very important that we can set a good way to know the number of players that we are going to have. Very important. So the next step is to define the goals of the practice. So we need to write down in the paper that you use to the practice. We need to know the goals. So in this case, we can make the right drills in order to get the purpose. Here I show you an example about a goal that can be how to prepare the run and jump situation, the jump and recover situation on defense. So how to defense the dribbling, how the defender number one defend this kind of dribbling with the chest, pushing the offense, and in the right moment, the defender five jump to stop the ball, and then one switch with five. Is just an example to set goals about how to make an early and loud communication, and how we rotate and how we use our hands to make this kind of defense. So it's very important to define the goals of the practice, and then we can set the right drills. Like I said before, after define the goals, we start to prepare the drills. So the drills in order to get the goals. I would like to say that one drill can have different goals. We just must to adapt our focus using the same drill for different goals. For instance, here in our program in Malaga, in Unicaja, we use a lot drills with advantage, like 4-on-3, 3-on-2, 2-on-1 situation that we play in a row to practice fast break, to practice transition balance. But also we use the same drill, these kind of drills, to improve the passing game in our program. So with this example that I show you, 4-on-3 in a row, I want to tell you that we can use drills that our players know perfectly how to do it, and we don't need to spend so much time in the explanation because we use in the daily practice. So we can use the same drill that we use to get goals in offense, the same drills to get goals on defense or in individual skills. So it's important for me to tell you that it's not a question to make always new drills, because in this way we can spend a lot of time in explanation, and we can use common drills for different kind of purpose. So it's important that we set in the practice situation from 1-on-1 situation to 4-on-4, 3-on-3, so we can combine different drills to get the purpose that we have write down. Another important question for me is try, like a coach, try to finish the practice, to prepare the practice at least 1 hour before. Why 1 hour before? Because in that way we can memorize the practice and we can prepare ourselves to the different scenarios of the practice, and also we can prepare all the tasks with a high level of detail, like how many balls we need, how many teams, groups that we need, of group of players or cone or short colors or everything that we are going to use during the practice. So if we arrive to the practice early and we can prepare everything, then our practice level is going to rise a lot. So when we have finished to prepare the practice, we can memorize the practice and share the practice with the team manager, with the assistant coach. If we have someone that help us in the team, so we can share with them, and then make them to feeling important inside of the team, of course, and share all the tasks, all the drills, what they are going to do as assistant coaches or team manager or whatever. And before to start to talk about the practice session, the last point is to introduce psychological aspect. Okay, so in our case, in our program in Malaga, is very important to try to be competitive. So we make inside competitions. We introduce psychological contact in every drill, shooting drill, 3-on-3 drills, 2-on-2, different offense. So we have a table in which we give point to the winners, so we can set the different feelings of loser, winners during every drills. That give us a good result in our programs. We are very lucky because we have a sports psychology, so they give us all this kind of question to implement the mental skills in our program. Okay, so after that, I would like to give you the key aspects for the practice session. So in our case, when we prepare our practice, we check that our practice is competitive, is like I tried to show you, organized, that we have a very specific goals for the practice. In our case, we like to set three main goals in every practice. Also, we spend a big part of the practice, 25-30 minutes, in shooting drills. Of course, a part of using the shooting machine at the end of the practice or before the practice or the free day or whatever. Mental preparation, like I said before, and individual skills. Always very important, because in our youth program, the most important goal is to develop players for the first team. So it's very important that every day we take care about to improve the individual skills of the players. Okay, it's very important for me how we develop as a coaches our ability to explain the drills, to explain the skills, the drills to our players. So, in my opinion, the first idea is to pay attention to the execution, but we need to explain slowly all the details, like in this example that I show you, how number 3 attack to the opposite side of the passer, how he can dribbling hard the ball, and how number 4 play behind the back with a good body balance, ready for finish strong. Practice the low pass, practice the bound pass, introduce decision making, like when we make a low pass, when we make a bound pass, and when the player make a good execution, then we can pay attention about the speediness of the action and how they make it properly. But first is execution, second is the speed, and third, we can put them under pressure, taking into account the result. That means if the pass go to the hands of the number 4, how the number 4 finish, if he score or not. But at the end, put pressure in the result at the end. I think that a very important part of our job when we make a drill is to try to make the same drill to all the player, obviously, but try to adapt the level of the player to the drill. That means that if number 3 is not able to use his left hand, then he can make it slowly with no defender, without take a decision, like an example. And if number 3 is maybe is lefty, we can put him a defender 50% or 60%, and then push him a little bit more in this part of the drill. So for me, it's quite important when we know how to correct to the player according with the skills that they have inside of the same drill. So everybody can make the same drill, and we, like a coaches, can develop the different level for every player. So we are practicing a team, obviously the whole team, but also we are practicing individually, okay? Trying to be focused in every player of the team. Well, here in this part, I would like to talk briefly about the assistant coach. I think that it's very important to delegate to the assistant coach. In that sense, we are going to have a better focus on the practice, and we are going to look the drill in a different way when our assistant is able to explain or correct the drill. And this is a good part of our job, to make that our assistant coaches improve and make them growth. Of course, to make feel them important inside of the staff. So I was very lucky because I was assistant coach of Coach Joan Plaza here in Malaga in EuroLeague, and I had a big responsibility inside of the practice, inside of the team, with the videos, with the drills, also during the game. So that made me grow a lot during 5 seasons, and I try to to talk with the head coaches in our young program to make the assistant coaches very important and make them grow inside of our club. Before to start the practice, like I said before, we need to share with them the practice. Also, according with the ability that we have, they can help us to prepare the practice. But in any case, we need to leave clear the specific task and goal for the assistant coach every day inside of the practice. So let's continue with more ideas which can help us to prepare the practice. We start the practice with the explanation of the goals. So we have a small meeting with the whole team, players and staff, and we remember we share with them the goals. Remember that we can get the same goals using different drills. So here, before to show you the example, I would like to tell you specific goals for the practice. Talk about the goals before to start the practice. Repeat the goals during the practice, and reinforce when the player get the goals during the practice. So here you have an example about on defense in our program. Is very important the concept jump to the ball, and make every time a good triangle on defense. Triangle on defense for us is when you are able to steal the ball, or you are able to help in the penetration of a player, or when you are in the right spot to press the ball when your offense receive the ball. So for us, it's very important to practice every day drills, 4-on-4, 2-on-2, 5-on-5, to jump to the ball. So here, for instance, an example of how to get the goals with different drills. We can make a drills in which we are playing 4-on-4, like the first draw that you can see here. So the offense pass the ball to one side to the other with no dribbling at the beginning of the drill. And the defender need to jump to the ball and adjust the triangle on defense with every move. And after the drill, you can go to different kind of goals with another different drills. And then you come back during the practice to get the same goal with a different drill. In this case, just 2-on-2, 3-on-3, the draw that you can see in the middle, in which we are practicing jump to the ball with the defender number 1 in an off-screen situation, step out number 5, good triangle for everybody. So you can see that with a different kind of drill, we are following the same goal. In this case, jump to the ball and make a good triangle on defense every time. And like I said before, after this drill, you can go to a different goal, ball handling, shooting, offense, whatever, and then you come back to the same goal with the third drill inside of the same practice, like the third drill that you see here, a cross situation from the baseline, off-screen situation in which number 3 pass the ball to one side or to the other, and everybody needs to jump to the ball and make good triangle. In this case, playing 5-on-5 probably at the end of the practice. So I show you here an example of 3 different drills that we can combine during the practice to get a specific goal, that in this case is to make a good triangle on defense and jump to the ball with every pass. So what I am showing you, what I am trying to show you here is how to develop inside of the practice the part hold method that we use in our Youth program here in Malaga. So is on balance is the ability to go from one side to the other, to one part to the whole method. So when we prepare the practice, we try to combine the part hold method and try to mix them, to mix both of them inside of the practice. So for me, it's very important to combine both of them. One detail that I would like to tell you about the drills is that we need to set limitation in the drills. When we make 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4 situation, we need to make this kind of limitation, space, about the spacing, about the dribbling or whatever, in order to facilitate the goal of the drill. So that's very important. Don't leave total freedom when we play 2-on-2 or 3-on-3, because if not, it's very important to get the goal that we have set for the practice. So it's important to include and combine team drills and part drills. Okay, so make the decision about this is very important for us. How many time we are going to spend in the par and in the whole is very important. So I show you here another example in which we practice the part method, here part hold method in 2-on-2 situation, and then the same skills we try to use it in a 5-on-5 or 5-on-0 situation. So we combine during the practice this part hold method. Something that in our program is very important is what and how we correct to the player inside of the practice. That is totally different in the games. So we try to develop the ability in our coaches here in the young program, especially to distinguish between mental mistake that we consider that is when a player don't pay attention or make a poor effort So it's important for us to be tough in this kind of mental mistakes. And also we try to develop a way to correct the players this kind of mistake, and we try to don't go straight to the mistake, and we try first of all to reinforce what they are doing well, and then we go to the mistake and we finish with motivation to that player in order to get a better result. So it's important for us to make the distinction between mental mistake and mistake in execution, because maybe the player is making all the best, is doing all the best, but he took the right decision but make a bad execution. So it's totally different to the mistake that we saw before. And at the end, like conclusion about mistake, I think that we need to be flexible, because the player improve making mistake. And I like to prepare the practice also making try to set in my mind which kind of mistake I'm going to correct today, and which kind of mistake I'm going to leave it go, because we cannot correct everything. And it's because of that I try to tell you that it's very important to have goals, specific goals for the practice, not only for the practice, but also specific goals for every player. It's because of that I try to think about every player before to start the practice. But if we start to correct everything, including aspect that is not about our goals, so the practice is going to be slow, and maybe the players are going to be frustrated. So as a summary about practice, I would like to tell you that we need to motivate our players, that we need to prepare the individual communication and be able to talk and have feedback with all the players. Also, which kind of communication we are going to have with the whole team at the beginning of the practice, during the practice, and at the end of the practice. Also, it's important for me in our program to take care of all the players, not only the important players, but all the players. Is very important in our job to set the right level, the right obstacles to everybody. Like I said before, in every drill, we need to set the level for every player. So we need to take care of all of them. Pay attention about the details. So it's not important the drill, the important is the detail, how we explain and how we correct the player, the skill of the players. And also, why not, of course, congratulate to the player when they make a good effort and when they get the purpose, the goals of the practice. In our case here in our program, we like to introduce scrimmage games at the end of the practice. In these scrimmage games, we introduce psychological aspect, and we use the score of this scrimmage game. Instead of we put bonus in one team or the other, one team is leading the score, or tie games, or maybe the goal of the week or the goal of the practice is the offensive rebound. So we make extra point when they get offensive rebound, or we give extra point when they force turnovers. So according with the goals that you have, you can manage the score, and then that can help you to make a better practice. This kind of scrimmage that we use at the end of the practice is only about 3-4 minutes, and we can make 2 3-1 scrimmage game, depending on the period of the time, because when the competition arrive or the big tournament arrive, we increase the number of scrimmage games inside of the practice. So when we finish the practice, we evaluate the practice with the players, and we need to be smart and like a coaches and know how we want that the player finish the practice. That means that we need to reinforce the confidence in themselves. We need to know how we want that they go home. So try to, to think about what we want to speak with them at the end, because it's very important, the feeling at the end of the practice. So we need to prepare very well what we are going to do at the end with them. Also, of course, talk about the practice with the staff at the end. Stay in the gym a little bit to talk about how goes everything. And also, in my case, I try to evaluate myself with, I try to write down in a paper about a couple of items like intensity, concentration, and how I help to the player during the practice. So I try to go home after evaluate myself, trying to have a good idea and a good evaluation about how the practice goes. Okay, so that's all I finished with this clinic about how to prepare our practice in a young program. And I hope that some of the detail that I show you help you to introduce in your program. I will be very, very happy if one detail help you as a coaches. And thank you very much to share your time with me, and also to give me the opportunity to be here with you today.
Thank you, Coach. And we have a question. The question is, could you give examples of what mistakes to focus on in a certain practice that is aligned with your goals, and also which to one you ignore in the contrary?
Yes. For instance, I mean, if we are making this kind of drills that we use a lot about 4-on-3 situation, 3-on-2 situation, and the goal of the practice is to get to know who is the open man and pass the ball and identify to the open man. We are not going to pay attention, maybe in this case of the drill, for instance, about spacing between two guys, just to give you an example, or the kind of pass that we are doing. I mean, if the focus is only about find the open man, like the first part of the drill, know about the spacing and everything, then we are not going to correct the mistake that are not about how to find the open man. Or for instance, the other example about jump to the ball and make a good triangle. If we have not explained about make a step out or follow in the off screen, in the example that I show you, I'm not going to put emphasis about how to defend the off screen if we are making a focus about jump to the ball. So it's important for me to focus in which kind of question we need to correct in a specific drill. But of course, if we have explained jump to the ball during 1 week, 2 weeks, and we make a drill to defend the low post, for instance, and we pass the ball to the low post and we see that in the weak side, nobody jump to the ball, of course, I'm going to stop and correct this kind of concept. I cannot permit this kind of mistake because we worked this kind of goal the days before. So if the drill is for defend the low post, I'm going to focus in the low post, but I cannot permit a mistake about jump to the ball because it's one of the key that we have practiced before.
Thank you, Coach. And then I also have another question. Now, for your practice plans, how do you layer your practice plans? Do you use a certain template, or do you use it by your personnel? Can you talk a little bit about your practice plans?
Practice plan, you mean the schedule of the?
Yes, like what you have designed for that day and for maybe a season. How do you best address that? Do you use a specific template the whole time, or do you usually work based on your players?
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, like I say, when we focus in the young program about what we want to improve about players. So for us, it's very important to set at least 3 specific goals in individual skills for offense and 3 for defense, and also the mental skills. So in the practice, we try to balance how to improve individual player and how to improve as a team. But we pay much more attention in the youth program about how to develop the individual skills. I don't know if I understand properly the question, if this is the right answer.
No, yes, Coach. Yes, that was a great answer. Everyone, well, we have a few more minutes if you want to put your questions in the Q&A. Coach, what roles do you have when assessing your program for your assistants? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Tell me again.
About your assistant coaches, what role during your practices do you assign?
Okay. In my case, my assistant, I have an assistant and a team manager. In our young program, we have head coach, assistant coach, and team manager. And we give to the assistant and the team manager the role to explain drills. And in my case, they explain and they manage the first part of the practice. They explain the drills. If I need to check something in the explanation, I introduce something, but I leave them freedom to introduce the drills, a number of drills during the practice. And when they start to have confidence, because normally we have very young assistant coaches, then we can separate in 2 courts. So they can be in 1 court, I can be in the other, so I can move to one side to the other. And another kind of practice that we do here in Malaga is that at the beginning of the week, the first 2 days, we use 2 courts. So a group of players are moving around different baskets. So I control all the basket, and the assistant coaches of different teams are responsible of the drill in 1 basket. So at the end, according with the philosophy that I learned about the Coach Plaza 5 season here in EuroLeague, I try to give a very important task to my assistants. And like I say, they explain drills, they can stop the practice and talk, and I give a lot of freedom to them.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate the answer. And everyone, again, I want to thank Coach Antonio. Thank you for your presentation. I know everyone learned a great deal. It was very informative, and I encourage everybody to take a look at the replay so that way you can better analyze all your different points. And again, Coach, I want to thank you for your time. Do you have any other closing remarks before we conclude?
No, just to say thank you, and I'm quite open to work with you every time that you need me. So I appreciate a lot that you call me for that. Thank you.
And Coach Antonio, and if anybody would like to get a hold of you, what's the best way they can reach you?
Well, they can follow me on Twitter, Coach Herrera1, so I can answer all the questions that they have, or Coach Herrera1 gmail.com if they want to make questions for me.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. Everyone, thank you for your time. Thank you again, Coach Antonio, for your time. I look forward to any future content you'll be putting out. I'll be making sure to follow you on Twitter. Everyone, thank you for viewing and have a great day. Thank you, Coach, again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.